Okay, so I just discovered that I hit stop instead of pause on the last video. So this will be two separate videos. I apologize for that. Again, just this is not my forte. All right, so first video I went around and I worked really fast. So this is tacky for the purpose of getting this done. But you can see how it's kind of stretched everything out. I'm going to pull this out later after. This is just for example, but I'm going to pull this out. And of course this is going to be bigger and this edging will be a lot neater. I just didn't pull real tight, my strands real tight. I was trying to get done quick. So anyway, I've worked around. You can see, and I'm on the last one, the last single crochet of my last row, and I'm going to go ahead and do this last reverse into that one. And then what I like to do is go in to that last one that I pulled that slip stitch into, just so you don't have a gap there. And I don't have my scissors here, of course, but then I would clip it, pull through, and what I do is I work behind the rug each individual strand and tying them off in the back, so they stay put. That gives you a, I wouldn't do them even if you've got a big needle. I would do each individual strand. Let me, in fact, you know what, just give me a moment. I'm going to hit pause on this one now that I see it. Okay, so I went and grabbed my scissors so I can show you guys how I do this. Get everything sorted. Get a little yarn barf here, it looks like. Not, let's see. And again, I hope everybody can see this. Incidentally, while I'm doing this, I finished one that I had started, one rug, this past weekend, and then I made 3 more. I did an oval and 2 more rounds. My husband bought me a yarn winder for Christmas, and oh, that made things so much nicer. So anyway, but I sold 2 of them already. Sold them yesterday, actually. That's why this morning I've been packing, shipping. Okay, so I'm gonna pull my strands through. Somewhere I missed one, so I just keep waiting for my alarms to go off, meaning my dogs. Because, of course, when you try to get something done, then there's all kinds of distractions. Okay, I think I have it there. Pretty good. Alright, so I've tied that off. Now I'm going to flip to the back. And you can see, oh, this is a good opportunity to show you about the drop loops that I talked about in the first video. Especially if you work fast like I do, you're going to drop loops. Even working slow, I'm going to drop loops. So real quick, before I start tying in these, let me show you how I handle this. If you have a loop like this on the front or the back, don't just clip it, because it may take it a while, but it is eventually going to work its way loose, and you'll just keep clipping and clipping, especially with each wash of the rug. You can see I've got some more around here. I was working super fast when I thought I had the video paused, but I actually had it stopped. So but anyway, what I do is just clip it, and then you're going to want to tie it in just like you were tying yarn, but something will eventually tug at that loop, so you want to get it tied in tight. whatever your method is for tying loops, or your whatever knot you like to use. I'm just doing a basic knot here for the purpose of example for you guys. Again, that needs to be clipped. Just like basically you're tying the strand back together. But if you leave that loop, it's eventually if you just cut it rather, and it'll tuck back up in there. It won't hardly be noticeable, even on the front. I would definitely try to, if you've got a loose loop in the front, I would definitely try to take it to the back if you can. But sometimes they're not quite this long. They're a little shorter and you don't have as much room to work with. So, and it'll tuck up under the fibers. The knot will. It won't be noticeable. So, okay, so that's how I do that. I just, if you've got one, like say you are going along and and one of your strands ends and you didn't notice it, which that happens to me once in a while. I've gotten where I pay a little bit closer attention to that. In that case, then what I would suggest you do is get you a pretty good length of it pulled loose, and then take your yarn needle, like if you were tying an end, and get it attached or knotted up to something, then weave it in if it's not a loop. So, all right, I got my center and then my outer edge, and what I do, again, I hope this is still in focus because I'm not. Let's flip this way, maybe a little bit higher. Got my clover needle here. These are my favorite needles to work with because they've got the little hook there and the eye's big. That hook makes a world of difference in almost everything you're doing. And I believe these are by Clover. I've actually never bought any. The first I've done a lot of gift exchanges in the groups in the past, and I got these and I just fell in love. So in my last few gift exchanges, they'll ask you what you want, and I said, oh, I could use some of those clover hooks, but I think you can probably find them at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. I honestly have not been hitting the yarn stores or anything as much as I used to. I've been trying to use what I have. All right, so I'm going to start tying in my yarn. You can see how I'm kind of going back that direction, back the direction, well, would it be clockwise? I'm sorry, I'm not good with words today. What it's going to do with each strand is you're going to pull it and you're going to kind of fill that where you won't have like such a noticeable gap. You're going to have a little one, but weave through several times, and then I would anchor it. I would anchor each strand. Whatever method you use, I'm just doing this real quick and it's not coming out real neat either. But you want to get it anchored onto one or two strands before you weave it the rest of the way in. Because they're going to loosen up a little bit when you wash them. You know, the fabric, the yarn fabric that you've created is going to relax a bit. So you want to make sure that you've got it where it won't come popping loose. Okay, so again, I'm going to put you guys on pause while I tie these all in, and then I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done. Okay, so there you go. I've tied in, actually I think it was up here is where I ended, but you could see where I pulled them through the back. I think this was the end, but it's not quite as noticeable where it ends and where it starts and where the gap is. If you clockwise, you want to pull clockwise, which that's not rocket scientist, and most of you probably know that. So anyway, again, this is not the neatest job, but because I rushed for the video, but I hope that it showed you guys how to do it. And again, the more strands you use, the more challenging it's going to be, but it's so worth it. I compared to when you, like I said, when you see a plain edge finish and you see one like this, it just makes a world of difference. And it's gonna help sell your rugs if that's something that if you plan on selling them. If you plan on just keeping them or gifting them, it's gonna make them look so much better and be so much more safer. Real quick, I'll touch on something too, because a lot of people ask me if I back mine, put non-slip stuff on them. And I don't know if I mentioned this in the first video or not, so forgive me if I'm being redundant. I don't put it on the back of mine because where mine are in my house are not high traffic areas. They may shift a little bit, but you know, just like a regular throw rug, you go through straightening your throw rugs in your house almost every day. But for customers, I don't. I will if they want me to, but it is expensive and it's time consuming to do it if you do it the proper way. I have used puff paint and or hot glue. It's okay, but I don't recommend it actually, because it doesn't, it eventually loses its sticky. The hot glue particularly, but the puff paint, if it gets cold, it's not real slip resistant. I do have a product here called Safety Back. And it's like there's several different kinds of it. There's Fiberlock you can get on Amazon. But anyway, it's the type of stuff that you paint on the back of it. And it would add more cost to my rugs if I were to do it for a customer. So I give them the option, and I charge for it if they want me to do it. I think there's probably only 2 people that have had me do it because I'm not cheap about it. But you can buy that stuff and you could paint it on. Like I said, it's a little bit expensive. You need a paintbrush and you paint it on the back, and then I think you let the first coat cure right around 24 hours, but not quite. And then you do the second coat. So it's about a 48-hour process before, like if somebody wants that done on their rug, before I can even ship it. And then it's either 1 or 2 weeks, depending on the product, before you can wash it. You know, you've got to let it cure. So, you know, it might be worth it for some people if they want that extra security on it. And like I said, I will do it upon customer request, with the understanding that it's an expensive added, plus it adds to the weight of the rug when you ship. These are not cheap to ship. So that's my take on it. But I do state that on my website that it's not on there. I'll let folks know there, so they're not being deceived. So anyway, I hope this is not, I don't think I've done as well with this video as the last one, but hopefully you guys have grasped it. Please comment and let me know what I could do better, and I will try to do better. Perhaps I can find another tripod. This is just not my forte, but I really do enjoy showing you, and I love seeing, I haven't seen any yet, but I want to see how everybody's rugs come out. I don't know if you can post photos in the thread on my page. I must have to check my settings, because even I went to post a photo the other day and it wouldn't allow me to do it in the thread on my own page. So I don't know whether it's my settings or a Facebook thing or both, but I sure do want to see them. Maybe I'll put a group together or an event where everybody can post their rugs. In the meantime, I'm gonna check this out, upload it to YouTube if it's decent, and try to do better on future videos. Ask questions, please. Post on the page and ask questions. So I appreciate y'all and appreciate your patience, and I want to see those rugs.